So, with sending you lots of my warm wishes and greetings to everyone, and very happy to see all of you. And so we can able to use such a wonderful technology in a positive way, which is very helpful. And so now talking about that journey towards enlightenment. Yes, we are on the path and journey from here to enlightenment. So with this series or this journey that I have set up some different kind of Buddhist teachings, so which is very helpful for our journey towards enlightenment. Yes. So in these regards, that as you know, that now to make this useful, beneficial, meaningful, first of all, we do the short meditation, is which then all the remaining time of Dharma sharings become very meaningful, useful. So in that regards, we do a short meditation and then follow with me, all right? So let's meditate. We meditate that we wish to become like Buddha, who is free from all the sufferings, problems as human beings, animal beings, and other classes of beings. We are suffering. We are trapped in these suffering problems. Buddha, who is free from these suffering problems, gain fully awakened state. And Buddha was, and many male and female human beings attained same Buddhahood state, same realization. Buddha, the historical Buddha, also born as human, not as extraordinary like God or something special, just as an ordinary human beings, and then gradually attain the state of enlightenment. Therefore, we also can attain the state of enlightenment. For that reason, we go refuge to Buddha. And if this is the case, if this is the ultimate freedom from the suffering problems, then which will lead us to that state, that awakened state, knowing the true causes. And the true causes meaning here the origin of karma actions, origin of our afflictions, how to purify them, how to get free from them. This is the true Dharma, the Buddha's teaching, which can help us to know these true causes of our problems and difficulties. By knowing that or having realizations, wisdom, then we can see the path, way that like we want to go a holiday destinations and we do not know which is the best. Then by many reasons, by many sources, from friends, from families, and so on, that we learn, that we listen their advices, and then we sort of like analyze, check whether we really want or not. And that brings conviction. And then, yes, we want to go that place for our holiday. Similarly, by knowing, having the realization of the causes of all these freedom, then we use Dharma, Buddha's teachings to support us to analyze. This is the ultimate refuge, the most important refuge. We go refuge to Buddha, we go refuge to Dharma, we go refuge to Sangha. Out of them, this is the most important. Number one, the Dharma. Those who practice these teachings, who practice these paths, they are also important so that we can also get support, help. So that makes our refuge the source of our help, protections, our hope. Buddha who show us this path, therefore Buddha is truly a refuge. Sangha who help us, who can help us, who could help us, who would help us, because they are already in that path, that journey. Therefore, they are also truly a refuge. But the most important refuge is the Dharma. Whether we can overcome from hunger or thirst, when we're hungry, we eat. Only making food, showing food, cooking, making doesn't help us. But when we eat the food, then we can overcome our hunger. Similarly with the drinks. That's why the ultimate refuge, the most important refuge is the Dharma. Now, that kind of journey towards enlightenment, that kind of destinations, freedom, attainment, if we think only for self, then this becomes very narrow journey, not beneficial, not so much kind of meaningful, not so meaningful, not very beneficial. And also don't get much help if we only think for self. So Buddhas skillfully include maximum sentient beings. Indeed, all sentient beings without an exception. However, maximum sentient beings must be included in order to maximize the benefit, ease the practice, more skillful methods can be used with more beings are included. Like having 2 hands and having billions of hands makes differences with the result of our job, how easy we can accomplish, how fast we can finish, makes big differences. Similarly, when we include all the sentient beings with many reason, logic, we use why we need to include all sentient beings. One example is our achievement, our success, our happiness, our problems, suffering, all depends on others' factor, others' sentient beings, not for self. If we or if I or we are the only person in this world, then the happiness and suffering that we are experiencing now is out of questions. How we need to overcome these afflictions only with the support of others' beings. And the very big reason is also that so many lives that we have taken so far, each and every life we born in different classes of beings, different places, with different family, friends. Therefore, very clear reason that we need to care about, or we need to develop our compassion. That way, we start listening to the Dharma Buddha's teachings, because Dharma is a nectar that can overcome all kind of our problem sufferings. So we all are somehow on the journey from samsara to nirvana, samsara to enlightenment. So all these importance factors, important factors, important practices, important hearing, important contemplations, importance of meditations, so on. They are very important, and all these kind of listening, contemplation, meditations, every part of these we gather, we collect, that help us to perform the journey, that help us to make easier our journey. So with that, we start our now Dharma listening. So far, our mind is always distracted, even when we are listening, meditating, contemplating. Most of the time, our mind is distracted, not able to concentrate. So without concentration, without being concentrated and one-pointedly mind, it's quite difficult to see good result, have good result. As you can see, when we wash our dishes in kitchen, without concentration, if our mind is somewhere else, we just wash, a little bit, but we may not able to see every sort of like details of the dishes where need to be washed and cleaned. Similarly, the meditation or concentration or single-pointedly mind, very important in that regards. So according to Buddhas, so far we have been living not only this life, many lives we have been living too much self-obsessed. Because of so many lives, we have been living too much on self-obsessed, sort of like habituated in that way. That continues in this life as well. It is not mistake of our this life, but who we are, what kind of problem we are having. Even though we do not wish, we do not want, but still deliberately we are going after the cause of problems. Even though we don't want to get angry, but when the conditions, pop up, we cannot stop. We get angry, we shout, yes, we fight. That is not our wish. Nobody wish in the first sort of like, I think when we wake up, yes, when we walk up, when we get up, Nobody generated thought that I would get angry today and I will shout and I will fight in that way. But so many lives, we are always sort of like living too much with self-obsessed and grasping that self and I and my and me, that grasping, which brings all kind of difficulties and problems indeed. Division, distrust, jealousy, hatred, greed, ego, everything because of that. Now, this is not only Dharma things. Now, modern science also have proven, scientifically proven that. As I remember in 2000, I think 2007 or 8, when I was studying in UK, in Cambridge, I remember that group of scientists in USA, in the United States of America, presented with a data proving and saying that people who make lots of self-references, always like thinking very limited sort of like compassions, limited sort of like love, limited sort of like kindness, always thinking about self and I and me and mine. They are very, very susceptible to all kinds of severe sickness, very, very severe sicknesses. And sicknesses that scientists could prove that. In fact, with that regards, we can understand, we can extend all also problem also. Why? Scientists said that people who think always for self and I and me and mine, they're sort of like view, the perception become very narrow, like a very, very only sort of like one hole that they can see within only that hole. Example, if someone experiences like just kind of like headache, and then he or she thinks, oh, I am having headache, why me? Then he or she may think, if he or she believes in the others' religion, such as theistic religion or school, yes, why God give me this problem, this headache? Why Allah give me this headache? Because everybody, those theistic school, they believe God or Allah, who is the creator of our world, creator of who we are, creator of our suffering, happiness. So, which makes that God or Allah is the one, even if we have headache, then they get angry to God and Allah, yes, because God and Allah is the creator of our suffering and problems, and at the same time happiness, so on. So why me? Why me? These kind of questions comes, and then that brings anxiety, that brings depressions, and then even not a serious sicknesses becomes very serious sicknesses. So according to those scientists, that people who think always for self, I, me, mine, very susceptible for all kind of sicknesses, including heart failure, heart attack because their heart becomes very weak, very, very weak. They cannot think. If these kind of people lose their one hand, they think now whole world is gone. Their life is finished. So therefore, in fact, those who do not think only for self and I have more compassion, yes, more kindness, more loving sort of like attitude, like qualities. They immediately can compare to others. Oh, I don't have one hand, but I still have two eyes, two ears, all the like the senses, and the two legs. One hand is still with me. One hand is, even though one hand is not, but still one hand, two legs, all the senses, everything with me. So, and then those people who don't have even both hands or both legs or both eyes, both sort of like hearing problems, or those who are in coma, yes. So compared to them, I'm very lucky. So they can, make up the mind, build up mind positively, even though some little problems, little sicknesses is there or going through, but still it's possible that that kind of like attitude, that kind of like the outlook, perceptions, outlook of mind can be very helpful if we have such a positive way like that. So now, so this is very important now. The modern science also, carries such a research, and so scientists also prove that now. Of course, Buddhas and the great masters such as Nagarjuna, Chantakirti, they have mentioned these since Buddha mentioned this, historical Buddha mentioned this more than 200, like 25th century before, yeah? Yes, 26th century now. And then before that also, before historical Buddha Shakyamuni, who is the fourth Buddha, third Buddha time, second Buddha time, first Buddha time, all they mention about this. So, which now opens another dimension, importance of how we human beings especially need to develop these qualities such as compassion, kindness, love, and so on. These positive qualities are there within us, yes. And if we do not to activate them, if we do not, use them, they're always, in a mood of like a sleeping mood, yes. They never get chance to use or activate. Then instead of them, we activate the another sort of like nature, another qualities such as hatred, anger, jealousy. They are also there. So we do have these two qualities. Yes, one is the positive one, another is negative. So therefore, most of the time we have been activating using the negative. Now, with the Dharma, having the understanding of the Buddha's teachings, how Buddha attained state of enlightenment, how Kunyim, how Cheresik, how Manjushri, how Tara, how Panchaparamita, yes, how Vaitara, and so on, how they accomplished. Likewise, we also wish to, go same journey. So for that, we need to take care these sort of like, how do you say, qualities. This is intact within us. We don't have to buy from somewhere else. We don't have to, search and find out somewhere else. These are within us. We are intact with that. Yes. So very, very important. And we, so far, one big mistake that we have been doing is Dharma is not an option. We use Dharma as an option. Like eating maybe an ice cream is an option. That is okay. You know, you want to eat ice cream, okay. But if you don't also eat ice cream, it's still fine. But Dharma is not like that. Dharma is like water. Without water, we die. Without water, we suffer. Without water, we get sickness. Similarly, Dharma is like that. Why it is not an option is, so far, we think of Dharma when we are in great danger, having a sort of like difficulties, problems with, when someone dies, we think of Dharma. Yes, when someone gets sick, we think of Dharma. When we have difficulty with our relationship or life or business or what kind of things, then we think of some kind of help, which is Dharma, which is Buddhas, which is protectors, Idams, great Buddha Bodhisattvas. It is not so bad to do that, but this is not helping us to get out of the problems. The problem is here. If we take them as an optional sort of our choices, yes, same thing, they will also give us some result, you know, not continuously, you know, here and there. So we get also result little bit here, little there, but not very sort of like good result that can lead us to enlightenment, right? So we have to understand, we have to practice Dharma, we have to keep the Dharma all the time, not like an ice cream sometimes a day. When it's warm, when it's hot, or you feel, you know, you feel like to eat ice cream or eat some kind of, or drink some kind of like, I don't know, like something from fridge, cold juice, cold drinks. Or when you feel very hot, you need to on the air conditions. When you feel very cold, you need sort of support of like heater. Dharma is not like that, in fact. When we feel cold, we need heater. When we feel hot, we need sort of like air conditions. Otherwise we forget the air conditions. Once a year we use during the, you know, like summer times. Same things, the heater, once a year we use during the winter. So therefore, Dharma, if we keep all the time, then we can really get the result. Result also is not an obvious result as a material things. Material things we can see as a concrete. Like we do something, and then that result give us maybe, you know, we build house, we want to build house, and then we build house after several months and years, finally we see the result, oh, the house is completed. This is like material result, like external result. But Dharma result is within our inner world. This is not so invisible, visible sort of object. But when you compare, before you have Dharma, after we have Dharma, to others beings who are, you know, who are same as us for 1 year before, we've been living like them. And now after meeting Dharma, after practicing Dharma, Now it's been 12 months, 1 year ago. Now we can compare self and our other beings that exactly we are back then, we were living same like them. And now compare, then you can see the differences. So that way you can see some external sort of like result of Dharma, but it is not so visible as it is inner world properties, yes, like that. So and that triggers. So therefore, it's very important to keep the Dharma all the time. Then, whenever we, need protections, whenever we need support, whenever we need blessing, we can have it. When we do not keep continuously, when we do not maintain, or when we do not maintain the practice, then whenever, like we don't practice, like we don't use the heater for whole year, and then when we want to use the heater, maybe heater is not working well. The mouse maybe cut the wire, or maybe something is jammed, it doesn't function well. It's possible like that. So very important that we maintain. Then whenever we need blessing, whenever we need protection, whenever we need whatever time, it's very possible. Even the time of the death, then guaranteed. Then we don't have to scared and afraid of dying, scared of death. Because we know we've been maintaining, we have like how you maintain driving or swimming or whatever. When you need to drive, let's say if you do not maintain the driving, once there's an emergency case, you need to drive. Oh, I learned once while, but I never maintained and practice. Now I forgot how to drive, everything. It's like that. Similarly, the time of death also, if we maintain well, then we can have very peace of mind. We know we are fully prepared for everything. When we are sick, we know what we have to do. When we need protection, we know. And every cases in our life, and not only this life, continues life after life, that benefits. So therefore, it's so important, yes, in that sort of like Dharma to maintain. So now our world, present world, going through many difficulties, many problems. Actually, we think our world material value is, very high. Actually, the standard of the material sort of comfort is very high, but still we are going through many difficulties. So which clearly show that we need to develop inner world, inner property. Now, the most richest people in the world, the most powerful people in the world, the most famous people in the world at this time, everybody, cannot use their power, their name, their fame with the virus. Only who have inner properties, yes, then inner wealth, that can deal with these problems, these viruses. The external wealth, such as the power and fame, money, cannot deal with these viruses. Everybody must stay away from the virus. Like that. So our world, we are having problems. Yes, our world is having problems because of our inner world, inner wealth, or we become very sort of like poor inside. Poverty within our inner world, lacking the wealth within ourselves. That cause 1, 10, 100, 1,000, million, billions beings have same kind of this poverty of inner wealth, then cause more sort of like bigger and bigger problems like that. So therefore, this time, coronavirus, how it attack equally to all the beings. There's no exception, like you are president, you are the most richest person in the world, you are the most famous person in the world. The coronavirus has no sort of like distinguished sort of like categories. So only who have calm mind, very sort of like calm mind, very sort of outlook mind is powerful and more sort of like able to see the true sort of like causes of these viruses. And then many people died out of just like, you know, like how do you say, as we talked earlier, I and me and mine, I have this little sickness, then we think, oh, now maybe I have coronavirus, maybe I have this, maybe now I have this, I think I will die now, making bigger and bigger issue within our sort of like mind and brain, and then cannot handle anymore, you see. So there's a great danger like that. So we need to look after our inner wealth. We need to overcome our inner poverty. Yes, very important in order to overcome many problems and sufferings. Because now this time, we are what kind of like time, age we are living? We are living as like age of informations, technology. But information and technology, most unfortunately, most of these technology, it can be used for good ways, good things, good purpose, but unfortunately, technology used for destroy other country, other people, like a very marvelous human brain and intelligence used to make weapon, like, I don't know, different kind of guns and rifles and like a like a biological weapon, like different kind of like tools for war. So these all are, in fact, you see, very useless. Yes, in a way we think, or at least the every country, they most of they have their, what you say, army and so on to protect their country. But why we need to protect? Because each and every beings, every country, they think I and me and my. That's why these weapons, these biological weapons and these guns and these all kind of like, you know, more and more these intelligence and this technology used for such an sort of like purposes, different kind of purposes like that. If nobody uses in that sort of like extent, then we don't need, yes, we don't need to use this technology for that purposes, these kind of purposes. So therefore, modern informations, the technology, very sort of like, how should you say, our body, our brain is not a dustbin that we collect lots of, how do you say, unnecessary informations, because we are filled with unnecessary informations, yes, and we make our sort of like the capacity of our brain and memory and our body as a dustbin, you know, lots of unnecessary informations and unnecessary things that we how do you say, we used for, because the information and knowledge that we actually can gather to use really for overcoming the true color of suffering problems, then we can really change, transform, free from this suffering rather quicker and easier. But we use the capacity for superficial and artificial and not keeping the fact and the nature. We added so much artificial things with the naked nature of the information, what it is supposed to be. And that way, you know, more and more problems, more and more sufferings, you know, added. And the information's knowledge, in fact, the capacity we have, human brain, human intelligence, the hand, the leg, eyes, nose, everything to sense, everything to listen, to hear, to see, it can be used for something good, impact for self and others. Like, example, Buddha showed example. Buddha used the intelligence. Oh, human beings are having problems with old age. How to get rid of these problems, problem of old age? Human beings are having problem with fighting between family, between two countries, two neighbors. How we can solve these problems? With a question like that. Yes? Not only the historical Shakyamuni Buddha, but all the enlightened beings, indeed. And especially the historical Buddha Shakyamuni rarely focus on this kind of, how do you say, you know, use this kind of intelligence and the knowledge and the memories and everything used for these kind of things, yes? And then that way, the real knowledge, you know, these questions, this alertness, this mindfulness, this curiosity opens up to collect more and more knowledge. And that more and more knowledge take effects. They really start to put some changes within ourselves. And something that colors our emotions. We know, okay, but by checking, by analyzing, by curiosity, using our intelligence, reasoning, and then slowly opens up mind that, oh, these problems, the people having fighting between neighbors, between friends, family, and countries, oh, actually all rooted, sort of like the root of this problem is the emotions. Yes, everything is based on emotions. Emotions, then check 5 different kinds of emotions, 5 destructive emotions which cause suffering problems between the two countries and between the two families, two friends, like that. And that way, and then by knowing the emotions, then slowly collects more and more knowledge by now listening, reading, hearing, like that. Then slowly this kind of information is not just an artificial information that we can get from the news channel. News channels, you know, half is true, half is artificial, yeah. Very difficult to, you know, like trust. But if we keep the naked nature of the informations, then that information that we gather, that transform into knowledge. Yes. Then it's just this, not a just normal information. This information, this knowledge will then, you know, bring changes within ourselves. Then that is now the activation of our life, like that. So that is now true knowledge. Or then this knowledge brings also wisdom. So especially Buddha said, for that, do not trust, believe immediately the informations, the news, or superficial news, or now through this technology, what we are seeing, what we are hearing, whatever there is to show us, to you know, to attract us. Buddha said, for that we use 3 different filters and 3 different folds. We need to go through 3 different filters to see the true knowledge, true informations. So Buddha said, first, hearing, yes, hearing, I mean, listening, reading, listening, all was good. But that is the first thing, that is that reading and that listening and that hearing itself is not enough. What Buddha said, that this is like we want to buy a house, we want to move to another house, we want to yes, and to move another house, first we need to see where we can move, which place, which location, yes, and then through our friends, through our family, through some senior, some experienced friends and families, through them we listen, we hear, we get their advice. Oh, this place is good, this is good, this might be good for you, like that way. But that is not enough. That is the first step. Then second thing is, then you need to, he told me, she told me, they told me this, you know, then we get so many different kind of sort of advices that we listen, and then use our brain, intelligence, mind to check, to analyze, to contemplate. That is very important. Then if what he said, what she said, whether it's good for me or not, good for, you know, whether it's correct or not, what do you think? We contemplate that way. Once we contemplate that way, then that brings some convictions, that brings some result, some answer, so some questions also. Then again, we need to filter that questions, and, you know, again filter and go through these questions, go through this doubt, contemplate, analyze. Same thing like relationship, how you spend whole your life with your husband or your wife. Yes, So how we choose our life partner? Okay, one of your friends said, oh, maybe you can get married with him or married with her. Okay, your family say, oh, maybe he is good, she is good. And then you need to check whether I can marry with him or her or not. We need to check. First we listen, we get, information from others. Then we need to analyze, we need to, contemplate. Yes. Then only contemplation and only going through this will not bring us the result. Like we want to move another place or another house. Only by listening, by knowing, collecting information where to buy the house, by listening, by seeing, not enough. And after that, second is contemplation and checking and whether this is good or not. Every houses that we check, then the relationship as well, that the husband and wife, whoever, yes, check each other. Then finally, you need to start now by living at that house that you want to move. Then you move and then you live. Then you will know that is the last filter. That experience will tell you by months, years and years. Similarly with the relationship or with the moving the house. The true experience will tell you that you will gain the realization when you move that time from that the first day onwards, then you will know that house is good or not. That location is good for you, good or not for you from the first day. That way, that what is now here, this example, it applies where in the Dharma. Buddha said, first, we need to build up the wisdom. Yes, we need to build up the wisdom, knowledge or wisdom of hearing. Hearing means Buddha's teachings, Dharma. Not Buddha's teaching means not the historical Shakyamuni Buddha only. Okay, of course we have different kind of Buddhas. So first is hearing the teachings. Number one. Number two is contemplating, knowledge of wisdom or contemplation. First, wisdom is hearing, yes, knowledge or wisdom of hearing. Second is knowledge or wisdom of contemplation. We contemplate, we analyze. That will bring you, that will give you rise up one wisdom. Then the third is knowledge or wisdom of meditation. As then we started to live with your partner, life partner, husband, wife, whoever, yes, of the friends, whatever relationship, and all with the house that we move. Example. This is just an example. Okay, these are two examples only. Of course, there are many things that you can also bring up with this example. You will immediately know that now what I mean. Yes, how we have to go through. So in that way, and so in that way, yes, and then first knowledge of wisdom or knowledge gained from hearing is like a light that dispels the darkness of the ignorance, but not 100%. This will not dispel the darkness of ignorance 100%. So what it says is, Tibetan means by hearing, which will dispel the darkness, but not 100%, 30%, 40% possible, 20%. Then second, by contemplation, gain the wisdoms, another increases more percentage. Finally, the meditations, 100% darkness of ignorance. So with these three, dispel the darkness of ignorance by hearing, by contemplation, by meditation. So the most important is the meditation. then this brings the experiences, true experience. That like you moved to that house, you started the relationship. That's like that. Now, Buddha said that in order to go through this, we need to also digest the flavor of Buddha's teachings. Buddha did not say that one should follow Buddha's teaching blindly. Never. Rather, Buddha said one should analyze Buddha's teaching thoroughly, like goldsmith. Goldsmith check the pureness of gold by analyzing. Similarly, Buddha mentioned how we need to check the gold or diamond. Similarly, example like that, we need to check the Buddha's teaching also, which is now very reasonable. It makes very reasonable whether we can follow, whether we can accept or not. That's why Buddha gave so many different kind of teachings. Yes. So that will come later. We need to really digest and flavor of Buddha's teaching that we just heard, that we listen, that we read. Yes, like that. And the most important is that we are lacking, or most of the time we are lacking of the personal reflection. You know, we listen Dharma and then we understand, okay, this is the way we have to do. Because this is the way Buddha have, like gone through, Buddha have practiced. This is the way the Közösség has practiced. This is the way Kirintara has practiced. This is the way, Manjushri Bodhisattva practice, Samantabhadra Bodhisattva practice. We all sort of like know. But then, second thing, then after few hours, few days, then we forget. In fact, the second thing is reflect on that. Personal reflection is so important, that we give time to personal reflection. That brings some impact on us, which lead us to the final meditations, So this process of reflecting and thinking and reasoning and using logic will bring true, first, understanding, second, the convictions, then third, then it moves us. Like Buddha is being moved from the palace to then renounce the palace, and he was moved to seek the true cause of happiness and how to overcome the suffering for not only for Buddha himself, for entire sentient beings, the people that Buddha had sort of like, how do you say, now let's say Buddha's father, who is Chakravartin, means the universal king, not like one country king, so many countries king, like it's called universal king. So many problems in that. So in order to overcome this problem, Buddha went for search, right? So that kind of impact and convictions. And then once we understood and bring the convictions, we have the convictions, then we need to build up that habituated. Because so far we have, as we know that who we are now, this life, something to do with our past habitual tendency. We are habituated into different kind of, different kind of like tendency that tends to do something automatically. We think, and this is my, usually we say, this is my character, this is his character, this is her character, this is his nature, this is her nature, this is my nature. But in fact, they are not the nature. They are our habitual tendency tends to act and tends to do us in this and that way. We are habituated in that way. But same thing, we can also build up another habitual sort of like pattern. So these need to be habituated as a meditations. Each and every day, whatever practice we do, practice on the meditation of Four Noble Truth, practice on meditation of the precious human existence, practice on meditation on the interdependent origination, practice meditation on the Bodhisattva, practice meditation on the Vajrayana, and whatever Girindara, Mahakala, Chendasi, Manjushri, or and so on, so on, so on, so on, whatever. But this needs to be habituated. Habituated doesn't mean that just reading, just praying and reading and making aspiration is not enough. You know, not enough. As we talk, the three filter. Through three filter. First, listen the teaching, receive the teaching. After receive the teaching, not just finish teaching, then close the book and then finish. Not like that. Then going again, going through the teaching what we have just received, yes, and then meditate on that way. That is the correct way, yes. So important in that way. So nowadays, meditation somehow it becomes very famous in our world. Even Buddhist or non-Buddhist or whatever, everybody wants to meditate. Become fashion, yes, kind of, But that kind of meditation we use is not the ultimate purpose or not the true purpose of meditation. We want to say, I want to meditate. But without having the sense of refuge, without having the sense of altruism, yes, that we wish to attain the enlightenment state for the well-being of all sentient beings, without this kind of attitude of mind, this kind of altruism, and just meditate. Why? Oh, I have so much stress today. I have so much problems. I worry. I want to meditate just to calm down. Yes, just to overcome the stress, just to overcome this worry, just to overcome that relation problem, that business problem, that sort of like, how do you say, office problem, that is or whatever problem. It's okay. It's not a bad at all. It's okay to do. It is helpful, but we can still do more than that with this meditation. But many people think this is meditation. Yes. So you see all the big company, like the world famous company, they also do every day 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Even the army also do the meditations 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Yes. But the difference sort of like the goal, motivations, intentions. When our intention is not touched with the enlightenment, this whatever meditation we do becomes very, they are like side benefit. When we focus on the meditation for enlightenment purpose, they are side benefit. They are automatically, that sort of like they becomes like automatically sort of packaged within that enlightenment. We don't need to focus on that. Naturally, they are, with the part of the result, like that. So temporary relief stress, to achieve temporary things, we use meditation. Yes, these days especially very, very famous. But that is not the whole purpose of meditation. We can use this meditation for rather sort of like more sort of important and more important meaning that everlasting happiness, yes, and free from the suffering, not temporarily, but permanently. That is possible through the meditations. So like Arahat, different kind of meditations, yes, Bodhisattva, different kind of meditations, Vajrayana, different kind of meditations. What practice we are able to do, we should do that, yes. And so these are very important, which we talk about these three sort of like faults or three sort of filters, yes. If we are missing one of them, then the result is very difficult, yes. Or sometimes we get result, but not so good result, okay, like that. So journey towards enlightenment, meaning here is we have to see the progress in the, not outside the material sort of like progress, but more about sort of progress within, generally we have tendency to measure everything. Oh, I don't have very good result of Dharma practice. I don't have good result of, my practice, this practice, this way. We always have tendencies to measure the Dharma practice in a material term, That is not really matter, even the suffering itself, when we experience the sufferings, our mind make up small suffering into, double bigger, triple bigger, 4 times bigger, 5 times bigger, 6 times bigger, than the true suffering itself. But suffering itself is like, maybe if there is a suffering, something suffering, let's say, each and everyone we have experiences in that. We have this problem, that problem. That is true. We don't say there's no problem. As long as we are human beings, as long as we have this human form, we always have problems. That we have to understand. But out of 100% problem, 60 to 70% just from our mind. We add up. We add up. We exaggerate it. Because of why? It's very clear. Because of I have this. Because this tendency is not your fault. This tendency is coming throughout many lives. That result, that's why, if there's one problems, if we have some meditation, some Dharma teachings background, then easier to handle. Out of these problems, out of 100%, if we have Dharma and aspect and how do we deal with this, we see that some realization, some wisdom from the Buddha's teaching, immediately 60-70% is reduced. If we don't have this way to deal, then 100%. Like, although suffering is there, but we make up our mind, make up like very big sufferings, problems. So usually 60-70% is from our mind. That this is now true. Like scientists also talk about that. It's not what we say. Or Buddha also said that since long back, but scientists also said that. Now remaining what? Remaining 30% or whatever percentage suffering. Now what it says, this can be changed. Suffering doesn't exist. The nature of suffering itself. Suffering can be changed. Problem can be changed. And especially with our intelligence, with our equipped instrument like compassion, kindness, our willpower, our different kind of motivations, different kind of the way we think. They can change these remaining problems. Then sometimes, even we try to change, we put effort to change whatever we, put this effort, that effort, we try our best, but still it cannot be changed. Then Buddha said, in that case, then do not think about this suffering again. Because since it really cannot be solved, yes, after all, with your all effort, yes, so then the best is you do more important kind of like jobs or more important kind of like activities, rather thinking only that kind of problem and suffering. That brings then again anxiety, worry, depressions. Then remaining 20-30%, if they can be changed, they can be solved, we do. But that is important to do. But if this is not possible, then do more important activities, things, then rather stick on that. This is very, very, it's also mentioned in the Shantideva, in Bodhisattva Avatar, they mentioned about that. Yes. So now what Shantideva says is that if it is something that you can change, do not worry. Yes, don't be depressed. You can change. If it is not, it is something you cannot change, then no use of, worry. Yes, because worry cannot change it. Worry cannot change that suffering. That is now Shantideva taught based on the Buddha's teaching. You see, so like that, and so usually many of us, we have tendency of continuously thinking about it, which will, of course, create constant problem and difficulties. Because we think our problem, this problem, that problem, this suffering again. Because as we talked earlier, 70% of this suffering is make up of our mind. When we know that, 70% is reduced. Now remaining 30% is, if we can solve, we try. Yes, we put effort to solve. But once we try our best and it cannot be solved, then we still we have tendency to, you know, continuously thinking about it. That brings more problem, more worry, more anxiety, more sufferings. Then cannot sleep and cannot eat and cannot, then it becomes disaster. But then rather than that, you know, so better do some important things more than this small suffering. So like that. So there are some people, you know, who lost one eyes, two eyes, who lost their, I don't know, maybe kidney, who lost their leg. There are two categories now, two group of people. One group, then they think, oh, now I finish my life. Now I cannot do anything. Finish my life. Then they stop there. When somewhere, and where else? Another category of group of people. Oh, what else? Maybe I lost one leg, one eyes, two eyes, one hand. Doesn't matter. I still can do a lot of things. Such an enthusiasm, you know, positive attitude, positive thinking. Then they can do lots of things. Yes, there are some people who are drawing their, you know, like beautiful arts with their even losing their hands, both hands, with their feet, their leg. They are doing like that, incredible things, you know, like that. So therefore, it's very important, according to this Buddha's teaching, that we need to focus. We need to, how to say, this kind of keep this kind of like outlook more positively, yes, and make up our mind or truthfully, rightfully, rather than false projection of perceptions. And then and one important here is often we are not able to appreciate what we have. You know, what we do not have, we see, or very sort of we see immediately, and we complain, of course, all the time. But what we are equipped with, what we have, we do not see, we do not appreciate. So this is, I think, very, very important as Buddha talked about the precious human beings. Precious human beings, if we meditate there, we feel so happy, we feel so fortunate, we rejoiced, we know how precious who we are, you know? And then we really appreciate this, whatever we are equipped with. For what can we do? We can become Buddha, we can become the president, we can become everything in this world, whatever the most important, we can, because we are equipped with that. Each and every human being are equally equipped with that. So we can appreciate it that way. And similarly, furthermore, become Buddha also, we are equipped with that. Yes? So therefore, we need to have a positive mental outlook. In short, here is now positive mental outlook is very important. Yes? And what we can do, we do. What we cannot do, don't stuck there. Move on. Yes, because life is not to just stuck by losing one hand or one eye, whatever. Yes, so move on, because there are more important sort of like duty, or more important sort of like responsibility, or more important sort of activity, more beneficial things that we can able to achieve and do and achieve. Yes, so positive mental outlook is very important. Develop knowledge and wisdoms that will empower ourselves, and then impossible achievement can be possible to achieve through this process, through this way. Then, so with the Buddha's teaching side benefit are for like the good health, prosperity, successful in business, all our wishes will be accomplished, and of course, ultimate benefits is enlightenment. But while we are journeying towards enlightenment, if we do correctly, if we do really, you know, journey towards enlightenment, side benefit is always, we can see in that, you know, good life, prosperity, fortune, and successful, and everything, you know, the positive, the good, the side, the good side benefit are there that we can see here and there all the time. Sometimes, of course, that result do not come immediately in this life, or do not come immediately now, maybe after a few months, maybe after a few years. Yes, because it depends on the conditions also. The law of causality is like that. Yes, therefore, like that. And so that way, I think now I think not much time left. So anyway, so with the so in our daily life, we need to, we need the alertness and mindfulness. So whatever is going going on within our vicinity, vicinity. So whatever is going within our vicinity, then Buddha said that people, being who remain, always sort of like alertness and mindfulness, then the whole nature become like open knowledges. Whole nature become open knowledges. If we are open for curiosity, open for our open for knowledge, and with that mindfulness and alertness, and that way the whole sort of like this how do you say, the nature, the planets, trees, forests, water, flowers, everything, every element becomes like knowledge. They are source of knowledge. The whole this nature become like open knowledges. And growing these knowledges within ourselves. Knowledge, then that helps to grow wisdom. Through this knowledge, grow wisdom. Through this wisdom, now wisdom of open knowledges of this whole world, whole universe, by seeing, by listening, by contemplating, by meditating, and then the wisdom, three different wisdoms, three different wisdoms that we gain. Through these three different wisdoms, then we can attain, we can achieve everything in this life, business, relationship, whatever we are doing this life world, whatever in this life, this world, and then furthermore for the enlightenment. That way, Buddha also remained in such a way, how to get out of these problems, how to help these people's human beings, how to help human beings and these fellow of the Buddha's kingdom peoples, how to help them, how to solve their problems, and then search, listen, hearing, contemplations, meditations, then find that one wisdom, realizations, true realization, three realizations, wisdoms, improve, further develop like that way. That all becomes source of knowledge and wisdoms. In that way, grow and develop and then develop and then finally attain the certain enlightenment like that way. So now, in fact, with our also, Buddha also once become like human. All the enlightened beings also once they are as like ordinary human like we are, and then still they attain state of enlightenment. Similarly, we also now, journey towards enlightenment. Earlier we talked about the importance of the tools that we need, importance of the factors that can help us to attain the state of enlightenment. Similarly, now today also we talked some importance. So, however, now we will continue more about now on Sunday. On Sunday, same time, we will continue more about now the very important part of the Buddhist teaching on emptiness, teaching on emptiness, how we can understand how the teaching on emptiness, then that way I think we will move forward. So okay, so today I will stop here, and then next Sunday we will have question answer, and we will talk on in emptiness, and then slowly we will move further. All right. And at the same time, also, if possible, we will talk more about there are 84,000 volumes of 100,000 verses of the Panchaparamita, 20,000 verses of the Panchaparamita, and then and 8,000 verses of the Panchaparamita. So maybe very extensive and intermediate and abbreviated, they are distinguished in that way. They are so divided in that way. So maybe also these are also talking about very important about emptiness. So we will gather in that way. All right, so we will now dedicate whatever we have accumulated merits from these today's the short meditations, and then especially the activating the enlightenment attitude, altruism, and then the listening to the Buddha's teachings. Whatever merits we accumulated, may these be caused to attain the state of enlightenment, and may all the sentient beings, human beings especially, who have the greater capacity to become Buddha, may all this world, this human world free from the suffering problems, that is the collective karma, that is our human, depending on of course it depends on ourselves. When we do, when we become so sort of like self-obsessed and we only think of ourselves, self, become very selfish, become very greed, and then these 10,000 billion human beings becomes like that, and then we don't care about others. We have not much compassion to others. We have not much sort of sense of I'll just say kindness and compassion towards others. Then this kind of result these are like this kind of world under attack like virus. This is human actions result. This is not only one human or one country. It's so many human beings together, so many countries beings together that results like that. So whether we get free from this or not also depends on how we use the antidote of, instead of being so self-obsessed and only thinking about the I and we and only think like that way, is then more about compassion about others countries, other peoples, other beings, more generous, more compassion, more sort of like love, kindness, and then accumulation merits. In another words, accumulation merits, which is like these kind of qualities, and then slowly, definitely, our world will be free from this result again. Because if there's no causes, no seed is planted, we cannot see the result at all. Since the seed is planted, the result is inevitable somehow, because law of causality is like that. So that way, we dedicate, may all sentient beings able to arise the kind attitude of mind, altruism, compassion, kindness, love within our mind stream, that helps to enjoy this world again free from this kind of problems, sufferings. Okay, that way we completed today's sessions, and I'm happy to meet all of you, and take care, and see you Sunday, 3 o'clock. Okay, bye-bye.